this is a Starrett, and yes, it's Starrett. I called the number. That's how the recording on the phone number pronounces it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to talk about looking at garage and estate sales for some secondhand tools. And the reason that I love garage and estate sales is that you can really find some good deals and bargains on things you wouldn't expect if you know what to look for and what to keep your eye out for. Some of the benefits to buying tools at a garage or estate sale is that first and foremost, maybe something you want is just unaffordable. There's a lot of things we would all like to have, however, it's just not within our budget. Going to a garage or estate sale, you may find that diamond in the rough and make that tool you've been wanting extremely affordable. Another great thing about garage and estate sales is that maybe there's a tool that you want and you can afford it, but you can't justify spending the money on it. And what I mean by that is perhaps you already have a version of that tool and this would be just a slight upgrade, or maybe it's something that you wouldn't use that often, therefore you don't want to tie up a bunch of money into that tool just to have it kind of sit there until the once or twice a year you may need it. Now, another reason you may want to visit garage and estate sales is because you can find things that, let's be honest, we don't really want to spend money on. It's not a cool new tool, it's not anything like that. Things like sandpaper, screws, nails, clamps. Some of my best finds that we're going to take a look at here have been clamps. Things like that that you need, but you don't necessarily want to spend the money on because they're either consumable or something like a clamp. You can also find used tools places like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and things like that. However, you're probably not going to get the best deal somewhere because obviously those people are listing it because they know it has some value. A lot of times at garage and estate sales, you can find some really nice things that most people that aren't into woodworking or metalworking are going to overlook and not think it's really worth that much. And that's how you're going to find your deals. You need to find those sales where there's a whole workshop full of stuff or a whole basement full of stuff, whole garage full of stuff that people just want to get rid of. They're not necessarily looking to make the most money possible. I'm going to bring you up here close. I've got some things laid out on the table here, and we'll take a look at some of my favorite finds over the past couple years. Alright, so as you can see, I've got quite a few things that I've found over the years secondhand. When it comes to clamps, you can really find some awesome deals at garage and estate sales. This is a Jorgensen 24-inch bar clamp. I found like 7 of these, I think. The tag on this clamp says $3. They wanted $3 for each of the 7 clamps. That's a good deal already. These clamps run between $15 and $20 for this size if you were to buy them new. I like to offer a price on a bundle of things. So like if there's a bunch of something I want, I like to bring them all up there and ask how much can we work out a deal for on all of these. So instead of paying like 21 bucks for the 7 clamps, which was still a really great deal, I think I only paid around like 15. I basically got 2 of the clamps for free because I went up and asked what the best price was if I bought them all. So this is a Pony 3/4 inch pipe clamp. And I don't know if you've priced these out before, but just these head pieces cost about $20. You still have to provide the pipe. I found about 5 of these at a garage sale. This is the shortest one. The others are a little bit longer. But 5 of these with the pipes I paid $20 for. So for the price of one head, I ended up getting 5 clamps with pipes already in them, and they work great. There's not a whole lot that can really go wrong with these or any clamp for that matter. So as long as it opens and closes and will clamp, there's nothing really to worry about as far as buying used clamps. It's a great way to save money. It's a great way to grow your clamp collection, and you really can never have too many clamps. Definitely keep an eye out for clamps, especially big ones like these or the bar clamps. You can really score yourself a great deal there. The next thing is going to be levels and other measuring equipment. I really like to look for stuff like this. This is a USA made Westline level. It's a 2-foot. I think I paid about $3 for this one. This is a Cervus Univile, and I think I paid about $3 or $4 for this one. Also a 2-foot. This one's got tape on it because this is the one I use on the walls in the house, so it doesn't make any marks. And then we've got this big Johnson 4-footer. I paid $5 for this thing. This is an aluminum 4-foot level, nothing wrong with it, and it is straight, flat, and you really can't beat that. Go price out levels, at least for decent ones, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You really can't go wrong as long as they're straight and none of the vials are broken. look for levels and things like that, because you can really save yourself a lot of money, especially when you get into these bigger ones. Moving on, we've got some Stanley angle finders here. This is a really nice set, some brass work up here at the top, and wood handle, US made. Paid a couple bucks for this. With that, I also found this Stanley 8-inch square. Once again, nice brass work here with the pins, brass on the front, and I think I paid $2 for this. So looking for squares, angle finders, layout and measurement tools, definitely worth it. You can get some really high quality pieces for very little money if you know what to look for and keep your eyes open. That being said, this brings us to like my favorite find I think ever. This is a Starrett, and yes, it's Starrett. I called the number. That's how the recording on the phone number pronounces it, so it's Starrett, not Starrett. But this one, nice cast body here, has a level built in. No scribe on this one, but price out one of these Starrett squares now, because you can still buy them today. Maybe not as ornate on the body here, but price out one of these combination squares. You're looking at probably around $100, if not more, to get an equivalent. I paid, I think, $1.50 for this one at a garage sale. It was just sitting there on a workbench in a box with some other things. I noticed a lot of these have the name and manufacturer and stuff like that on the rule, and I saw it and right away knew that I was bringing this home. It's nice and straight, still very accurate, nothing wrong with that. And now I've got a high quality combination square that I can use for all of my projects. In addition to this Starrett, I also found this Starrett, and not as ornate on the handle, still has the level in it, works really well, nice heavy body. Still readable. I mean, some of these you find them and they may not be readable if you're looking to measure. I cleaned these up a little bit and they work just fine. This one and this one definitely still legible and readable without any sort of issue. And I use these quite a bit. Once again, trying to find one of these current day, you're probably looking at $100, if not more, to get a comparable Starrett. So I think I paid a couple dollars for this one as well. Just because people don't know what these are, people don't pay attention to them, people walk by them because that's not the exciting power tools and things like that. They just sit there in a box where everyone walks by them. So make sure you're looking in those boxes that you see sitting around in workbenches and garages and stuff, because you can really find some nice stuff like this. Now these two here aren't as exciting, but I still picked them up anyways because I think each of these was under $3. This one is a USA made Craftsman, got the little heart-shaped cutout here, has the level. This one's missing the scribe, which doesn't affect the use of the combination square, but it is missing the scribe that normally screws in the bottom here. This one's a little tough to read, so this one's more for making just straight marks and stuff like that and not actually measuring anything. But still works as a square just fine. And then this is an old US made Stanley. This one still has the scribe. It's a little rough getting it in and out, it's pretty tight, but it does have the scribe that screws in. It has the level also, nice brass knobs. If you go to the store and you're looking for a combination square at like Home Depot or Menards or any of those types of places, you're not gonna find one that's this quality with, you know, the brass knobs and the nice checkering or the nice heavy bodies. You're probably gonna find an aluminum bodied one, and it's just not as nice. These are just overall nice to use. It's nice to use some quality precision measuring equipment, even if it's older and a little bit dirty. The stories that this thing probably has, especially being a Starrett, which is super expensive even back when this was made, it probably built a lot of things. It's just super cool to think about and be able to continue using something like that. So with the measuring equipment out of the way, another thing I look for is bundles of old wrenches. So this is only a part of what I picked up in this bundle. They were all masking taped together in a bundle for $5. Not really something I needed, but it looked like there were a couple interesting wrenches in there, like this one here. I'll do a close-up of this, but it's got the Ford logo in it here. And these are just some oddball, little tiny, you know, small wrenches for getting in tight places. And for $5, it's kind of hard to pass those up. Most all of these in the bundle I got were US made. I don't think I saw hardly any imports in that bundle there. I've still got a bunch of them in my toolbox. I didn't drag them all out for this. But another nice thing to do is pick up wrenches as you find them cheap, because you may need to grind a wrench down one day to get into a tight spot or for some specialty type of nut or fastener. That way you're grinding down, you know, a garage sale dollar wrench, or, you know, less than that, you know, say 50 cents or whatever. You can grind these down or make your own tools out of them without worrying about wrecking your more expensive newer set. Up next, I've got a set of wood chisels here. Now, I only paid, I think, $1 a piece, if that, for these. It might have been less than that. It's hard to keep track of what you pay for things after a while, but these weren't very expensive. Now, these were in rough shape. You can kind of tell, I don't know if it'll show up on camera. This is not a perfectly square blade on this 1-inch wide one. These two, the 3/4 and the 1/2, aren't that bad, but I did sharpen them up. Now, I wouldn't necessarily use these for any precision woodworking at this point unless these blades got completely reground. But they're handy to have around to be able to scrape things, get in some tight areas. If you're doing more rough carpentry type stuff, you can get away with using something like this. But you're not going to be making some super tight joints with these in the condition that they're in. Once again, something that was cheap enough and I knew I would have uses for them without having to go buy a brand new set. And finally, for what I've got on the table, all of these punches and chisels I've got laying out here, I paid $10 for all of them together. These were at a garage sale. The guy wasn't even planning on having a garage sale. He happened to remember that the village-wide garage sales were happening and threw some stuff out in his yard to get rid of. And these were part of it. So I grabbed these. My intention with these was to make some attachments for my shop press. I'll throw a video up in the corner for that if you want to take a look at that. But what I was going to do was, you know, cut these down, use them for attachments for the shop press to be able to bend or split things on that. And then there were a few punches in there. Once again, not something that I necessarily had to have or needed, but I knew I was building the shop press and wanted to come up with some attachments for it. And anything I didn't use as an attachment, I knew I would still be able to clean up and put in the drawer and have for when I did need one. So now that we've gone through all the hand tools and stuff, this one does have a cord. And I think I actually did find this one on Facebook. I don't think this was actually a garage sale find, but I want to use it to make a point. If you're going to be buying power tools or equipment, make sure you look everything over very carefully. I made a mistake when I bought this. It was $60 and I figured that's going to be higher quality. This is an old Sears drill press. I figured that's going to be higher quality than something I could go buy for $100 or $120 at a store right now. What I mistakenly didn't pay attention to was the size of the motor on this drill press. So this motor is only a 1/3 horsepower. This is rated for 1/2 horsepower. So I assumed that this drill press had a 1/2 horsepower motor and was going to be enough for what I wanted to do. And at that time, I only really was into woodworking. I wasn't quite into the welding and metalworking stuff that I am today. But now that I've been doing the metalworking and stuff like that, I find that this drill press is a little bit underpowered for what I need it to do. And I wish I would have paid attention and made sure that it had the motor that was supposed to go with it, or at least was actually 1/2 horsepower. I don't want to say somebody switched it because I don't know. I just know that it's got a 1/3 horsepower motor. The sticker on the front says it's rated for 1/2 horsepower. So I don't know if that's how it came or if someone did swap this motor out at some point, but it is pretty underpowered for what I want to do at this point. I do have another one that I found in the garbage sitting behind the camera right now that I will get cleaned up, and it's a 3/5 horsepower, so it is a little over 1/2 horsepower. So there will be a video on me cleaning that one up. That's another thing. If you pay attention and look out for things, you can find free stuff that you can make work again. I plugged that particular drill press in and it worked just fine. It just needs to be cleaned up because it was sitting outside. I hope this video gave you some ideas of what to keep a lookout for and keep your eyes open for when you visit a garage or estate sale. I know we didn't really cover like Facebook and Craigslist and things like that. That'll be coming in another video specifically regarding buying used power equipment. I really just wanted to bring some attention to some of the overlooked and often passed up deals you can find at some of these garage and estate sales. And hopefully you can find yourself some nice hand tools, clamps, and things like that that you need in a shop but don't necessarily want to spend a ton of money on or can't afford to spend a ton of money on. So if you like videos like this, subscribe, watch some of the other ones. If you need to find some free scrap metal to use in projects, check out this video, and we will catch you next time.